Hello and welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Thelma Okoro. International medical charity Medicine Sans Frontiers has described the scarcity of food supply in the northeast part of Nigeria as a humanitarian disaster. MSF on Wednesday said severely malnourished children are dying in large numbers in northeast Nigeria as food supplies are close to running out. The region was a former stronghold of Islamic sect Boko Haram. The agency is not the only global body to voice concern on severe food scarcity in the region. The United Nations says 3 million people in the northeast are urgently in need of food aid, but some roads within Nigeria are unsafe for convoys due to landmines. The Boko Haram insurgency has raged on in Nigeria's northeast for about 7 years now, killing over 10,000 people. Over 20,000 people are feared dead and more than 20 million displaced due to the Islamic group's rebellion in over 7 years. The Niger Delta Avengers has again threatened to destroy Nigeria's economy. The group has claimed responsibility for a series of attacks on Nigerian oil facilities in the last few months. In a statement issued on its website, the group accused the Nigerian government of planning to buy drones to attack them. Just a few days earlier, the Nigerian government said it had tried to engage in talks with the Niger Delta Avengers. However, the group refused to dialogue with the Nigerian government, saying it would only engage in talks if international mediators were involved. The Avengers said the dialogue proposed by the Nigerian government is a scam and delay tactic for an impending attack on the group. A former militant group, the Movement for the Emancipation of the Niger Delta Region, MEND, has criticized the Nigerian army for threatening to use force in the Niger Delta region to end pipeline attacks. The group made this known in a statement issued by its spokesman, Jomo Gbomo. On Monday, Chief of Army Staff Tukur Buratai, who was speaking in Port Harcourt, had warned that the government would use force if efforts to hold talks with the militants in the region fail. However, MEND said the threat was insensitive and provocative. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has urged the current administration to be wise in its spending as the country battles its economic problems. Nigeria is Africa's largest economy and its top crude oil producer, but its public finances have suffered as the price of crude oil dropped around the world. Obasanjo said the government should be looking towards tax revenues as a means of generating income. He was speaking while receiving the chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, Williams Fowler, and chairman of State's Internal Revenue Service in Abeokuta. Nigeria's Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has said the Buhari-led administration is on the right track. He said there is no alternative to most of the decisions taken by the government. Speaking at a meeting with members of staff of the Nigerian Embassy in Madrid, Spain, Mohammed said the administration had fulfilled its campaign promises to address insecurity, fix the economy, and fight corruption. In the area of security, the minister said that the administration was winning the war against Boko Haram. The Indonesian government has confirmed it will execute 14 drug convicts, including at least 4 foreigners, this weekend. Muhammad Prasayo, who is the country's Attorney General, confirmed this on Wednesday. Those executed will include nationals of Nigeria, Zimbabwe, Pakistan and India, he told reporters at the State Palace. Sources say the executions may take place on Friday this week. The announcement comes after a brief hiatus since last year's controversial executions of mostly foreign convicts. The Nigerian government is yet to confirm or comment on this news. Speaker of the House of Reps, Yakubu Dogara, has given a 7-day ultimatum to Abdulmumun Jibrin to tender an unreserved apology to him and retract all allegations made against him or face legal actions. A statement issued by the Special Advisor on Media and Publicity to the Speaker, Turaki Hassan, stated that the demand was contained in a statement released and addressed to Jibrin by counsel to Dogara, Professor Joash Ojo. The letter noted that the claims of the former appropriations chairman, who was removed for padding the budget and other actions, he said the Speaker is corrupt and abuses his office and is aimed at tarnishing his image at home and abroad. And the Speaker says this is a case of libel. Jibrin, who was removed last week, has insisted he was not sacked but resigned from his position voluntarily. He has accused the Speaker of the House, Dokara, of attempting to pad the budget with as much as 30 billion naira. He says his removal was because he refused to allow the Speaker have his way. A group of Nigerian youth supporting the People's Democratic Party says it has uncovered a plot by factional leader Ali Modu Sheriff to sway pending court proceedings in his favor. The group, under the aegis of PDP National Youth Movement, said they were concerned with the latest revelation. They held a peaceful protest in Abuja, the nation's capital, on Wednesday, urging the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court in Abuja to wade into the matter.
We have come here today because of the untoward happenings going on in the Federal High Court, which we have been informed about, which has come to our attention. We got to pick up the information where some members of the Ali Modu Sheriff camp of the PDP were celebrating a judicial victory in a matter that has not yet been heard by the court. And they were saying that, oh, our case is now before our judge. So we have already won. And we now looked at the antecedents of this, our judge. And this judge has been giving Sheriff Group series of orders and injunctions. And now they are celebrating that this judge will hear their matter. And we are asking, is it a mere coincidence that this case has now arrived finally again before the same judge? Now, keep that aside. We now ask ourselves, what is it that a judge can do for a litigant if the litigant does not have a good case? And we came to realize that this judge has ordered that it is only in a different case, that it is only Ali Modu Sheriff that can appoint lawyers for PDP. And now Ali Modu Sheriff, being the first plaintiff in this new suit, has taken PDP to court with INEC. So INEC is the first defendant, PDP is the second defendant. Now PDP will have its lawyers appointed by Ali Modu Sheriff, meaning Ali Modu Sheriff is both the plaintiff and the defendant. For whatever the plaintiff says, the defendant will not defend. That is the reason why Sheriff is already rejoicing that his case is now before his judge. Because this is the judge that has already ruled in his favor, that is the only one that can appoint lawyers for PDP. It is based on that and a lot of other coincidental issues that we have come to insist that no more black market injunction in the judiciary, that every attempt by anybody to obtain any black market injunction from the Nigerian judiciary, especially the Federal High Court, will be resisted completely. And we have come here, we have stationed ourselves here, and we have stationed our people, even at the FCT High Court registry, and we will make sure that nobody obtains any illegal orders or any black market injunction. If you come to court, you must come with clean hands.
Nigeria's electoral body INEC has approved Ahmed McCarthy as acting national chairman of the PDP. The PDP, which is Nigeria's biggest opposition party, has been enmeshed in a series of leadership crises since it was ousted from power. Counter-court rulings have since named McCarthy and former Borno State Governor Ali Modu Sheriff as authentic chairman of the party. However, in a statement issued, INEC ratified the administrative approval granted to McCarthy based on the judgment of a federal high court sitting in Port Harcourt. The Independent National Electoral Commission INEC says its biggest challenge ahead of the Edo governorship election is security. Resident Electoral Commissioner for Edo State, Sam Olumekun, said there were still security challenges that must be resolved before the commencement of the election in that state. He said the commission has compiled flashpoints in Edo State for security agencies to monitor to prevent violence during the electioning process.
Basically, the truth is that to conduct a free and fair elections, we must have the support of the people. People engage in impunity activities because they have willing tools, especially in the hands of youths. And it's regrettable because that is our future. They use these youths and after they dump them. Of course, they become a problem to society. They become a problem to themselves. We had thought that the degeneration of the conduct of elections had ended with 2015. But of course, the attitude, it's very, very basic. There is no other way to read. Somebody is preparing to contest an election. The first thing he does is to mobilize thugs that he's going to use. That tells you exactly where he's going to. What will INEC do in that circumstance? For us in Edo, we are engaging the security agencies very, very seriously. And we are hoping that they will mark all these areas that are prone to violence. We have a long list of these places. We have sent them to everybody who is involved in the security business, both at state and national levels. We hope they will help us man these areas, and that they will also help us drive out some of these miscreants out of Edo State before the conduct of the elections. Those are some of the strategies that have been put in place.
An election tribunal sitting in Abuja has upheld the election of Seriake Dixon as the duly elected governor of Bayelsa State. Dixon of the People's Democratic Party had defeated the All Progressives Congress candidate Timi Silva at the election held in January 2016. The tribunal dismissed the petition of Silva for lack of merit. Silva had challenged the victory, accusing INEC and the PDP of working in concert to rig the election in favor of the PDP. However, in its ruling, the tribunal held that the election that took place on January 9, 2016 was proper and valid. Embattled Abia State Governor Okezie Ikpeazu got a huge relief as the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja told him to retain his seat pending the time the court will hear his case. The Court of Appeal is expected to hear the case on August 9, 2016. The appeal filed by Ikpeazu is challenging the judgment of a federal high court which removed him from office. A 5-member panel of judges said the parties in the matter must remain as they were before the case got sent to the court. However, they said the ruling did not mean a stay of execution order. A federal high court had on June 27 nullified Ikpeazu's election, saying he was guilty of tax evasion. The court had also ordered INEC to issue a certificate of return to another PDP candidate, Samson Oga. The Nigerian Prison Service has dismissed a female prison official for smuggling alcohol into the prison in Lagos State. In a statement issued, the NPS said the official was sacked after she was found guilty of negative activities which border on trafficking. The statement added that the act contravenes several sections of the Prisons Act. The People's Democratic Party Zoning Committee has released the zoning arrangement of the 21 available positions between the North and the South. The report was presented by Governor Dave Umahi, who headed the zoning committee to the party's National Caretaker Committee, led by Ahmed McCarthy. The party zoned the national chairman slot to the South region of the country, while the position of the deputy national chairman position was zoned to the North. The party has been immersed in a series of leadership crises, which culminated in 2 parallel conventions in Abuja and Port Harcourt. Its national convention is scheduled to hold on August 17th. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll look at business and sports stories. Don't go away.
Mr. Job! Mr. Job! What is it now?
What is it now?
Please turn down the volume of your music. It's too loud.
And how is that your business?
It is disturbing me. I can't sleep.
And the same way you are disturbing my right to good music and where I enjoy it. Eh? What's wrong with you? Is there another person complaining?
Maybe we thought that you have lost your mind. Are you having a party?
I'm just respecting you, sir. Remember, I've paid my husband too.
You will not understand why we are complaining because you do not care about other people except yourself. Look, the transformation we need in this country begins in this compound.
Yes, now.
From you, and I. This your selfishness is an offshoot of corruption. And corruption
not in my country.
Oh, you know, go to your bank. Go.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back. You're watching TV360 News now. The Central Bank of Nigeria has raised its benchmark interest rate by a surprise 200 basis points to 14%. The Apex Bank, however, maintained its existing cash reserve ratios for commercial banks in a bid to stabilize the Nigerian currency. Speaking after the announcement, CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele defended the decision, saying it would help oversee an inflow of foreign exchange into the capital market.
You will also notice that we took a lot of time to deliberate on whether to favor growth as against inflation. We felt that there was a need, in line with central bank's core mandate, to look at price stability at the time. That if we favor price stability at this time, in which case signal an interest rate movement that will curtail inflation, that when we curtail inflation, a lot more stakeholders' interests would have been sort of met, thereby encouraging, in this case, inflow of capital into the country. And as you have more inflow of foreign exchange into the country, what that does is that it deepens the FX supply base, and by deepening the FX supply base, it makes it easy, makes foreign exchange available to end users, particularly to the manufacturing sectors who require raw materials to boost manufacturing and industrial capacity. And we're also hoping that when this is achieved, what you find is that naturally prices will be affected downwards. When you have a situation where foreign exchange is also made available to those who want to import agricultural inputs, insecticides or agricultural plants, it helps to boost the agricultural productivity, and this also helps to moderate the effect on prices downwards. So what this does is it generally create activity that will boost not just manufacturing and agricultural output, but will indirectly now begin to push growth forward. That was purely the essence of saying, let's push from the direction of taking inflation and price stability as a focus during this meeting against growth. It didn't mean that we didn't have growth at the back of our mind, but we felt let's start by looking at price stability, push towards curtailing inflation, and at the same time, ultimately, seeing how you can achieve growth in the same vein.
Before the CBN's latest increase, TV360 spoke to a business analyst who explained CBN's benchmark increase.
Of course, it will jack up the interest rate for virtually all the set of economy, small scale, medium scale, large scale, and whether you like it or not, that will equally exacerbate the rate of inflation in the economy. And when you have that kind of compounding situation, then what you are saying is that the economy be stagnated and be worsening the recession that the economy is experiencing for now. What they are trying to do is probably forced the interest rate, probably forced the inflation rate to the interest rate, probably at the same rate. But when you look at it, what is the margin? The margin is just 2%. Over years, if you watch it over years, in the last decade, inflation rate in Nigeria have been a single digit. And I think it went to double digits some 2 years ago, and the government have been trying to reduce, to make it the way it has been. Now it's now double digit. And that double digit, before you realize it, you'll be going to say 17, going to 18, go to 19, go to 20. But I think what CBN has done now is probably a technical way, more strategic way of probably reducing that inflation rate to 14.5%. We pray that it will work out the way they desire it.
Directive given to banks to commence the sale of foreign currency remittances to licensed bureau de change operators. Now, Godwin Emefiele, who is the CBN governor, said the policy was aimed at achieving a convenient exchange rate in the country. Speaking at a press conference on Tuesday, Emefiele said the move would ensure a flow of foreign currency into the bureau de change market.
If you recall, in January, we said that the Central Bank of Nigeria could not continue to dip its hand into the scarce reserves to fund the operations of the BDCs, which is entirely cash. But we also said in that process that look, that the BDCs are allowed to source their foreign exchange from autonomous sources. We went further to say that Central Bank itself will seek ways to open the channels where the BDCs can access foreign exchange from autonomous market to be able to continue to do their business and provide a source of livelihood to those who are in that business. Unfortunately, I use the word unfortunately, it took us between January and June to do this. Now what we feel is that we all know the size of diaspora funds that flow into this country. And we thought that what we should do is that foreign currency that flows into the country through the likes of international money transfer organizations, Western Union, MoneyGram, Riyadh, and the rest of them, that those foreign currency should flow through into the bureau de change market so as to help to moderate and dampen the effects of price. And that takes me to the aspect of where somebody says, will this introduction not lead to arbitrage? Rather, to the contrary. What will happen is that by this, it will moderate the prices in the parallel market, indeed bring it down to the point where it bridges the gap between the parallel market and the interbank foreign exchange market, thereby eliminating speculators and arbitrage from that, and those who are carrying out arbitrage activities in the market. This is the entire sense behind this introduction, and we are optimistic that it will, no doubt, yield its objective. We only released the circular almost around 8 p.m. on Friday. It got into the banks or into the circulation on Monday, which is yesterday. It would take a few days. We are going to be holding engagement meetings with the institution, with the international money transfer service organizations, to see to it that we know that there are large chunks of diaspora monies that are flowing into the country, and we will see to it through reports that are going to be submitted to us on a daily or weekly basis that these funds flow in, and as they flow in, naturally they will flow to the PDCs. We just seek some understanding. I believe in the next couple of days, these funds will continue to flow down, and I can assure you that that rate will come down. So those of you who are keeping dollars under your pillows, please release them, because you will lose money.
That was CBN Governor explaining the bank's latest directive. Now, despite the Apex Bank intervention, the Naira continued its free fall, closing at a low of 334 Naira against the dollar on the interbank market. The Nigerian Stock Exchange, however, opened on a positive note on Wednesday. CBN raised key interest rate. On the parallel market, the Naira appreciated to trade at 374 to a dollar, as against 378 on Tuesday. Oil prices dropped to a 3-month low amid speculations that U.S. fuel stockpiles had increased. Global benchmark Brent crude traded down 49 cents at $44.38 per barrel, while U.S. crude was trading down 26 cents at $42.66 per barrel. Weekly industry data from the American Petroleum Institute late on Tuesday showed that the U.S. crude stocks fell by at least 827,000 barrels in the week to July, well short of the 2.3 million barrels draw that had been expected. The Central Bank of Nigeria has again insisted that the Nigerian banking sector is indeed stable. There have been fears that the banking industry was also suffering due to the country's economic crisis and the CBN's recent takeover of Sky Bank. However, Godwin Emefiele, who is CBN's governor, has calmed that fear, insisting that the banking industry remains strong.
Let me repeat, the state of the Nigerian banking system remains strong. Naturally, when economies face global shocks like the entire world economy is facing today, financial institutions will have their own share of that scratch. No doubt, there has been weakening in terms of capital adequacy, there has been weakening in liquidity, and there has been indeed weakening even in the NPL, but not to the extent that it creates any panic or worry to anybody, any stakeholder in the Nigerian banking industry. So I see this opportunity to say that the strategic health of the Nigerian banking or Nigerian financial system remains strong at this time. There is no need for anybody to begin to panic or worry that any bank is in distress. We took certain actions about the activities or to express our unhappiness over the, I would say, misdemeanor in the activities of certain board and management members of a bank. And doing that does not mean that that bank is distressed. Second, let me say that since 2009, the central bank had always come out to say very boldly that no Nigerian depositor or no depositor of a Nigerian bank will lose its deposit. And we've stood by that to the extent that at a point the central bank even issued guarantees in favor of any depositor or at the interbank market to say, look, we will not allow anybody to lose its money, and that has remained the same. And those guarantees indeed has not crystallized since 2010. But what the central bank will continue to do is to monitor the Nigerian banking system, monitor the activities of directors, monitor the activities of shareholders, monitor the activities of members of management of the Nigerian banks. And when we find that we are not happy with the dealings or activities, or some directors or shareholders have undermined their positions to the detriment of that bank, we would take action by removing that management. We would take action by removing the director. We would take action against that shareholder to see to it that he does not, by his activities or her activities, does not precipitate a distress in that bank. I think depositors and interested stakeholders in the Nigerian banking system should please note the fact that we change the management or board or certain individuals in management or board of a bank does not connote distress of that bank. Depositors of banks are please endure. We appeal to you, go about your business. You will not lose your deposit in any bank. I repeat, the state, the strategic health of the Nigerian banking system remains strong. But we would, I repeat again, take action against individuals, whether in management, in the board, or shareholders of banks who by their activities undermine the success of that bank. But this does not, should not by any means connote that that bank is distressed.
CBN governor there speaking on the Nigerian banking sector. He also explained the reason behind the decision to ban several items from being imported into the country. He said the decision was aimed at ensuring the stability of the Nigerian currency.
We have always said that the reason we introduced the restriction on foreign exchange in Nigerian foreign exchange market for the 41 items is because we are convinced that these items can be produced in Nigeria. And because of the shortage of foreign exchange to service the needs of everybody, knowing fully well that our revenues in foreign exchange have declined quite drastically, we thought that we should limit access to foreign exchange in Nigerian foreign exchange to these 41 items. And I'm happy to say that it is yielding results. I'm sure the world, Nigerians, have seen the success of the Central Bank Anchor Borrower Program on rice. We are extending that to tomatoes, to other agricultural produce where we feel we have comparative advantage. So whether we will review or not, in the course of time, if there's a need to review, again, I don't have a position yet, we will. If there's no need to review, we will not review. But the important thing is, we still feel that it's the right policy, in the right direction, and would like to continue to implore all of us to please embrace this.
On the foreign scene now, the United Nations has warned South Sudan's President Salva Kiir that any political appointments must be consistent with the peace deal that ended nearly 2 years of civil war. The warning comes after Kiir replaced his Vice President Riek Machar in a move that could affect August's peace meeting and send the country back to an all-out conflict. Machar left the South Sudan capital of Juba earlier this month after an eruption of violence in the city. Forces loyal to Kiir and Machar battled for several days with tanks, helicopters, and other heavy weapons. The clashes left over 300 people dead and threatened to revive a civil war that has killed tens of thousands. Kiir replaced Machar on Monday with General Taban Dengai, a former chief opposition negotiator who has broken ranks with Machar and has the support of some other opposition members. Moving on to sports stories now, the burial rites of former Super Eagles coach Stephen Keshi will begin in his hometown in Oshimili North local government area of Delta State on Thursday, July 28, 2016. Keshi died of suspected cardiac arrest in June 8 in Benin City, Edo State, south of Nigeria. He was only 54 years old. The burial ceremonies would start on July 28 and end on July 31st. NFF's delegation to the final rites will be led by President Amaju Pinnick. He will be accompanied by Frank Ilaboya, who is the chairman of the Edo State Football Federation. Neville Bekedere-Memo, who is the chairman of MPFL side Warri Wolves, will also accompany Amaju Pinnick, and Edema Faludu, who is the chairman of Delta State League Management Company, will also be part of the delegation. Super Eagles captain John Mikel Obi has been named as captain of Team Nigeria at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games. The Chelsea midfielder, who will be appearing at his first Olympics as part of Samson Siasia's 18-man squad, will be assisted by female table tennis star Funke Oshanaike. A statement from the sports ministry said Mikel was chosen because of his role as a patriotic international footballer, while Oshanaike was chosen because of her experience. The 27th Summer Olympic Games starts in Rio on August 5th and will run till August 21st. Nigeria will be hoping to perform better than it did at the London 2012 Olympic Games, where it finished without any medal. The Court of Arbitration for Sport is opening an office in Rio, Brazil to fast-track doping cases at the Olympic Games. Before now, cases were first heard by the International Olympic Committee, but now the IOC has delegated its powers to CAS. The court said it will hear cases and appeals throughout the Games from August 5th to August 21st and be able to impose temporary sanctions if there is need for them. That's it on News Now. We thank you very much for watching. I am Thelma Okoro.